Hi, I'm Umbra. I'm the Magus Temple Eternal Eclipse, and welcome to Interlude. It's a magic class. And this is a book list. So I want to go over a book list real quick. These books aren't requirements. There's no really requirements besides your sort of participation in reality. But these books I found very useful for myself, and I think that they are concise and they have valuable information without sort of getting you wrapped up in too much trying to figure out what it is or to know it or whatever, will be your major pitfall early on in your development. Okay, so first is The Red Line and the Elixir of Life by Maria Seps or something like that. This is an esoteric sort of fiction, right? Story of a young boy who becomes he gets thrust, he crashes into the hells basically, and is kind of forced onto the spiritual path to development, right? Because he takes a bit of the elixir that he wasn't supposed to get. So the whole book's about his going through his lives. He remembers, he dies, he goes through life, and he's trying to develop the Philosopher's Stone. Okay, it has I look at that thing regularly, and I've done so for quite a while, right? It's much akin to like the Three Initiates and Masters of the Far East and stuff. It's got that kind of vibe, but it's actually a really good book. It's an interesting read. It's not dry. It's interesting, and it's just a wealth of information there. So next one is How to See by Thich Nhat Hanh. Okay, it's very thin. It's like looks like a kid's book almost, but it's just real short, sort of passages on how it is that you aren't looking at things. You can't see them. Okay, and it just describes, step by step, like how it's not what you think it is. You gotta look at it. All right. The next is a book I got at Barnes & Noble called Cosmological Koans, and it's sort of a philosophy, reality. It's I don't know who wrote it. I don't have it with me, but I've dipped into it a few times, and there's good shit in there. Once again, it's really kind of digestible, manageable. The Little Prince by Andrew St. Exupéry. If you haven't read The Little Prince, just do yourself a favor and read it. Okay, don't the movie or the whatever, but read a book. It's like this big. It is similar to How to See by Thich Nhat Hanh. Its presentation, right? It's a gem. Vade Mecum by C. Joy Bell. Vade Mecum means go with me, and actually this book came to me when my tower had fallen. And I mean that sort of in the magical, esoteric tarot sense, in the real sense. So it had, I don't even remember, I was out somewhere, but I was out, I thought I was fucked because I couldn't get a hold of any other entities. I was like trapped somewhere. And then somebody came across on the internet, I could get a hold of one person, and they said they found a book. And I was like, what is it? And they said it was from Doom, the video game. And I did some sleuthing, and Vade Mecum. And so, C. Joy Bell, I bought that book, and it saved me on more than one occasion. Dante's Inferno by Dante Alighieri, right? Or The Divine Comedy, whatever. It's good. Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. It's a samurai. Book of Five Rings is really good, particularly the section Void. Okay, but it's all good, and it might take you a couple of goes at it, but I think it's preferable to Sun Tzu's Art of War or something like that, because Book of Five Rings is about individual and their process to sort of their own enlightenment, following the Tao. Master Eckhart's Book of Secrets, it's good shit in there, and it's short, digestible. In terms of magical stuff, more magical stuff. This is more spiritual stuff and just personal. It can help you out. But the Psychonaut Field Manual, it's like a graphic novel. You can get it as a PDF. It's not 100%, but it's pretty good. It outlines some concepts in magic that are oftentimes overlooked, right? And it's colorful and it's interesting. It gives some. It's good. Anything by Josephine McCarthy. She's one of the few just adepts that I see present here. And is established in the magical community. She's written many books, a book on exorcism. I have all of her books, And she also provides a free online course for magical development that is bar none, probably ever. If you have self-initiated or doing magic, I would recommend you. Once again, not perfect, but whether or not she always understands why something is done a certain way, or it is just the case. She knows her stuff. She's one of the few real wizards on this planet. Okay, I would give Frater Acker some acknowledgement, but they're few and far between. Okay, Paracelsus, particularly the alchemy book, the Theosophy. I like Paracelsus because he's kind of dry, acerbic. He's he's kind of a grump like I am, and it's for the same reasons often, right? These fucking sophists, like stupid idiots. And so the materials presented, the alchemy and the procedures are presented in like a very matter of fact sort of manner, right? Like, you do it this way, idiot, and that's, you might not understand. When I was learning alchemy, I read that thing probably like 20 times. I didn't know what idea what the fuck he's talking about. Going back over and over again and be like, oh, all right. But it'll do you a lot better understanding that Paracelsus and the next author here, Jakob, are two individuals that I can verify have created the Philosopher's Stone. I can be certain of it. And so can you. And so you can not waste your time with any other bullshit if you're interested in alchemy, and you can get some good shit, okay, from those two authors, Paracelsus and Jakob, particularly his Signature of All Things, Aurora. He's got a lot of good books. Pretty much anything he's done. There's also the Whisperings of Self, which is, I think, a Rosicrucian manual. I'm not sure, but it's really thin. And then there are other poets and authors like Rumi, Hafiz, Shakespeare. And then the last book for magic I got on here is Consorting with Spirits by, I always forget that dude's name. Eccles? Damien Eccles? No, that's not him. Maybe. No, it's not Damien Eccles. Anyway, this book has got good shit in it, right? He's got some understandings that many people, again, seem to overlook for somehow, right? Particularly in how to consort with spirits. And so I'd recommend it. It's a really short read, but that's pretty much where I would stop listening to that author. Okay, and the last book I have in here is a Central American indigenous wisdom book written by, I can't remember his first name, Luis Ruiz, called The Four Agreements. Okay, and the Four Agreements, if you watched the last video, they are pretty much what I outlined in the last video. Be impeccable with your word, or be honest. Do your best, right? Don't take things personally. That is, you can take criticism when people are being shitty to you. Don't take it personal. And don't assume. Don't take this personally. Be impeccable with your word and do your best. That's it. Those are the four agreements from the Old Text and Toltecs. And just as a caveat to that, understand that Mexico, that's not how you say that word. It's called Mexico. All right? Magic. The word magic comes from fucking Mexico. So it might behoove you to pay attention to something like the Four Agreements. So they only got 4 agreements. That sums up most of their spiritual understanding in terms of their development in those cultures. So that should be it's not that complicated. But it's not easy either. All right, so that's my book list. Once again, none of these are like required readings, but for easily approachable books that you can get through in a day, particularly if you have dyslexia or something, or difficulties reading or slow reader, these are tiny. Okay. It used to piss me off in the temple. I'd have the book list and I'd be like, who read the books? And there'd be crickets. I'm like, you guys are initiated in this temple and you could read all these books in a day. Like, are you kidding me? It really pissed me off. So, but they're not necessarily to do with magic, okay? As much as they are. I'll go over another book list later in terms of orders of material I would go through if you're trying to aspire to be a mage and find the truths of all the religions and spiritual practices, right? But that'll be for another time. Okay? And then stay tuned. I'm going to put another video up talking about the second part of the basics. Thanks.